Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. So today we get to take a look at the 2024 Hyundai Ioniq 6. This is the limited trim level with the long range package. It's finished off in gravity gold and the MSRP is just over $55,000. Now this is powered by a 77.4 kilowatt lithium ion battery pack. With the long range, you get an upgraded dual motor system, one for the front axle, one for the rear. It's paired to a single speed automatic transmission. This pumps out 320 horsepower, 446 pound-feet of torque. That power is sent through the all-wheel drive system, propelling this 4,600 pound sedan from 0 to 60 in 4.3 seconds. It has a top speed of 115 miles an hour. With the extended range, the total mileage is 270 miles. It can also do a full charge in around 7.5 hours. This has a wheelbase of 116.1 inches. Its overall length is 191.1. It has a width of 74, a height of 58.9, and its ground clearance measures in at 5.6 inches. As we move on to the exterior styling now for this Hyundai Ioniq 6, let's start off with the grille in the lower section. As you can tell right now, there is bodywork with the two-tone, so there's some gloss black right in the middle along with a sensor, and then more of the body colored in the lower section. Now on both sides, those will actually open up. When this needs cooling for the components up front, those will open up like a garage door, and then when the vehicle is cooled down, they will close, giving it a very nice seamless look. Now there's also parking sensors up front. They are in the gloss black section that runs right through the middle, where there's also the forward-facing camera. So all of those are nicely hidden away with that stripe. And then of course this does have LED headlights, DRLs, and turn signals. And I will say from certain angles, this kind of looks like a Hyundai Tiburon. So going back to the old school Hyundais with the lines right in the middle, along with a little bit of that bubble design where the headlight housings are. So it's a unique design to see, but it looks very similar to where Hyundai came from. Now as we work our way to the side, this has a set of 20-inch wheels with that two-tone design to them. This does have regenerative braking for that battery system. You can charge this while you are driving, which is of course nice. For these side mirrors, you'll notice the turn signal along with a camera. There's also gloss black on the base. And then this has a sunroof up top. All of the window trim is blacked out as well. And then there's some more gloss black in the lower side skirts there and a few lines to give it a nice look. Now I will say this Hyundai also has a unique shape to it for this sedan, so it definitely sets it apart from the rest of the vehicles. And as you can tell right now, the door handles are currently out. All I have to do is push on this button right here, and then not only will the power folding side mirrors close, but now there's a seamless look with those flush door handles. So it gives it a great look when the door handles are not in use. And then as we work our way to the back, you'll notice this does have a spoiler up top, finished off in gloss black. There's the Hyundai badge along with the backup camera. There's also a release for the trunk right next to it. And then more of those little squares running throughout the entire LED bar with the LED taillights and turn signals. Really neat light bar to see. There's more gloss black in the lower section. And then this also has Hyundai's Smart Park Assistance. So with the key fob, you can actually remote start this. So we'll just lock it, hold on this button. Now you're not going to be able to hear it start up, but with the lights flickering and turning on, that's how you'll be able to tell that it is on and ready to go. On the side of the key fob, we have hold for the liftgate, and then I can just hold on these buttons as well to move this vehicle forwards and backwards. So you will hear it start to beep because it will start to go in the reverse direction. As soon as I let off that button, it will stop. And then we also have forwards as well. And so now we can go back in the forwards direction. As soon as I let off it again, it will shut off or stop. And then I can hold on this button and actually shut off the entire car. So that's a really cool feature for this in parking lot situations. You can use that button on the key fob again, or just use this one on the right side. There's more of those little squares. So Hyundai really likes to use that design for this car. Now that is a power trunk, which is great to see. Now in the trunk space, there's actually a lot of cargo up underneath the floor. Currently the charger's in there at the moment, but you could put some items down below if you really needed to. And then you have a lot of space for this sedan. You can even fold down the back seats, so just pull on those tabs, and that is going to give you a lot more interior space just depending on the items that you need to put in the back. But with the back seats up, you have plenty of cargo. You can also lock the vehicle. The one on the left side will just close that power lift gate. And now as we work our way to the back, you'll notice that the vehicle is locked. There's no proximity sensors on the back, but as soon as I get close to the front, all of them will pop out. And then moving on to this door panel, it has a really nice two-tone to it with the gray, a little bit darker gray up top. All of these waved lines in it too gives it a cool accent. There's brushed aluminum for that release handle, a little bit of storage with the window control, lots of storage down below. And then the grab handle on the inside could actually be for more storage space. So it's a really unique design to see that hidden away. And then there's more of that two-tone for the interior. And at 5'10", I have plenty of space. There's storage nets behind both front seats, climates in the middle with some auxiliaries and additional storage. And even with my hat on, I'm just almost touching the headliner. So I could be comfortable sitting in the back of this. Right in the middle, there's also the armrest with 2 cup holders. And then this is the visibility from the back. It's nice that there's an additional window there just to give you a little bit more visibility. And as we work our way up front, you'll notice too that the door panels have a minimalistic design to them. So up front, we have memory seats and the release handle, and those are all of the controls. There's a speaker for the Bose audio, lots of storage down below, and then that same hidden design for that grab handle and additional storage. Now there are no window controls on the door panel. I will show those here in just a little bit. And then for the front seats, they have a great design to them. They are automatic, so all of those controls are down on the side. And it is a low sedan, so it's easy to enter. Now, as we look at this steering wheel now, it's finished off in a solid black leather with a 2-spoke design to it. So the entire lower section is open. There's some gloss black accents, even paddle shifters, which I will explain here. But let's start this back up. Now, being an EV, you are just going to hear it beep to start up. It lights up green for ready. That means we are ready to put it into drive or reverse. Now on this left side, there's the cruise control settings along with your lane keeping assist and even the distance pacing. And then there's a pages button there to go through the digital gauge cluster. Now for the current layout, miles per hour is on the left side. Right side, you'll notice the range, so 94 miles to go along with charge. And then right in the middle, we can scroll through some information. So currently we can go through some of the drive information and just look at all these vitals. If I hit on that pages button, we can go over to the right to the compass, even look at where the power is being distributed along with TPMS. We can also go over to the lane keeping and distance pacing and then back to this screen here. So not a whole lot of info, but it gives you everything that you need. And then just below that, there's the different driving modes. So just by pushing on that button, we have Eco, Normal, and Sport. You'll also notice too that the lights on the airbag cover will change depending on the driving mode that you are in. Pretty neat to see that little gimmick there. On this right side, there's also mode for the audio. You have tuning that you can go into along with Bluetooth controls. There's voice commands, even volume for the audio, and then a favorites button too. Now on the lower right, this is the stock to put this into drive and reverse. So twist it forwards, that is for drive. If I twist it backwards towards the driver, that is for reverse, where you'll see the backup camera appear along with a few different angles, just depending on what you need to see. So we have that 360 view, which is nice. And then park is just by pushing on the end of the stalk there. And then this also has paddle shifters. Now these are not for changing gears. Like I mentioned earlier, this is a single speed, but in that lower left, you will see LV3. If I click on the right one, we go to 2 and 1, and there's also 0. And then if I go all the way to the left side, now we have iPedal on. That is basically the one pedal driving. So that way you don't have to use the brake pedal when you let off of the gas. It will automatically slow the vehicle down even quicker. So that way you can do the regenerative braking and have that on the maximum level. Now over on this left side, there's the e-brake, some dimmer switches. There's the fuel cap release or the battery cap release. So that way you can plug it in, tailgate release, there's traction control and the window controls too. You can even fold them with that control. There's one air vent. And then as we work our way to the giant infotainment system, I'm just going to push on one of these buttons down below. So let's go into map, where you can pull that up in full screen, and then we can get back into home. If I swipe over, this is the screen that you just saw. And now we have a lot more icons to go into. So if I click on EV, you can go through all of these settings and configure everything you need to with that. There's also phone projection, so you can pair your phone to the system. We have the warmer and ventilation, so you can get into your ventilated and heated seats. Along with the heated steering wheel, you have some other adjustments that you can go into. You have Hyundai Pay, Setup, and then a few others that you can scroll through. Now there's also more physical buttons with the brushed aluminum finishes down below. So you can get into that nav again, you can get into media, you can also get into another favorites. So you have 2 favorite buttons that you can configure depending on what you use the most. There's tuning, even a control for the camera system, so you can quickly pull that up, as well as the parking sensors, and then volume and tuning for the radio. Now underneath that, there's the adjustments for temperature dials on both sides. Just by pushing on these controls, you can quickly also get into the heated and ventilated seats with that shortcut, and then there's the rest of the climate adjustments. Now underneath that, there's wireless charging with a little bit of storage and a USB. More of those squares that you noticed from the lights on the exterior. So that runs throughout this entire vehicle. There's 2 cup holders behind that. And then underneath, you'll also notice too, that there's an auxiliary for that 12 volt and a lot more storage space for any items you want to place down below. There's even the lips on both sides, so that way nothing is going to slide out. Now this is interesting because this is where all of the window controls are. Lock and unlock is here, auto hold, and then the lock for the rear windows. Would be nice to see maybe a little bit more storage, but it's interesting all of those controls are there. Then there's also a little bit of storage in front of the armrest, and then you have a lot more storage with some auxiliaries right in the middle. So there's that split design, and then the glove box also has a decent amount of space for the rest of those items, and you'll notice more squares running to the air vent on that passenger side. Now there's garage door buttons underneath the rear view mirror, and then there's dome lights, as well as the controls for the sunroof and the sunshade. They are both power operated, so you will use both of those. You can also open that all the way up with the push of one button. And as far as visibility goes, for the exterior shape, doesn't hinder the interior visibility. You can see all the way over that left side as well. So now that we're behind the wheel for this Ioniq 6, I've been waiting for right now to put this into sport mode and give it a pretty good acceleration. We have 446 pound-feet of torque for this all-wheel drive sedan. Here we go. Woo! And we're up to speed. That's pretty quick. I wouldn't say it's dramatic or like quick. It's definitely fast. Let's try it again. Oh yeah, okay. It'll put you back in your seat. That's something that is very cool with EV cars, is all that torque is instant. The moment you decide to start moving your right foot towards the floor, even at a higher rate of speed, you will get up and move. So this is pretty quick for this Hyundai. Now you can get it without the long range, so you only get a single motor versus the dual motor. So if you want to get into this car a little bit less expensive, you do have another option and a few different trim levels that you can get as well. So I've been driving this for about a week or so, and it's really cool. It's very comfortable and quiet. It's smooth as you would expect, but it's also quiet, of course, because it is an EV. So there's really no noise. You can hear a little bit of it sometimes under that acceleration, but other than that, it's more of a good normal daily driving sedan. Now with that extended range or longer range up to around 270 miles is pretty adequate for an EV. I haven't seen too many EVs that have crossed that 300 mile mark. There's a few out there, but in general, I'd say 270 is about what you're going to expect to see. Now, if you want to get these 7.5 hours that I mentioned earlier, you will need a fast charger. So you will have to upgrade your charging system if you like to do that. But in general, you should be able to charge this in probably 12, maybe 15 hours with just the regular 3-prong outlet. So I will say, if you're just driving this around the city, you're commuting to work, you're not going on long distance trips, an EV is good for those situations. I feel like if you're trying to go on a longer drive than that, obviously you're going to have to plan accordingly with charging stations and how far you're driving, which you can make work as long as you plan for it and accommodate for those charging times at various charging stations and what's going to be available, what's going to work with the plug that is provided. Now, as we make a quick 3-point turn here, it's a very small vehicle. So in situations like this, it's going to be very parking lot friendly and something that is easy to drive. Now let's put it back into eco mode and give it another acceleration here. I can already tell the lack of throttle response as my pedal is to the floor right now. We just got up at a normal rate of speed. So the driving modes actually make a huge difference. We'll do one more acceleration from about 10 miles an hour. And as things go flying in the back, hopefully I can convey the difference in that. Now, I also want to touch base on these paddle shifters, because if I go all the way to I pedal, if I let my foot off of the gas or the accelerator, not even touching the brake, we are going to come maybe to a complete stop? Almost? Yeah, we came to a complete stop without touching the brake. And if I put it all the way into off, we are just cruising now. The car is not going to slow down. So depending on the regenerative braking that you want for the day, really cool that you can use those, especially if you're getting low in your battery and you want to charge it, or just in general, you want to charge it, you can keep going. It's a really cool feature that pretty much every EV car will have. We're back in sport mode. Here we go. And just like that, we're up to speed. And it gives you a little bit of a headache with those G's, especially since I've been doing it multiple times for today's review. But this is a quick car. From a Hyundai, you get a 0 to 60 time just over 4 seconds, 4,600 pound sedan, pretty impressive numbers to see. But this is what it's like to be behind the wheel. And I didn't mention earlier, hopefully you were able to tell, with the turn signal on, Hyundai and Kia are the only companies that give you that additional camera system for better visibility. It will especially help on right turns, so if you have curbs or anything on that side, you can see additional areas over on that right side. But in general, even out on the highway, merging in traffic, it gives you additional visibility, which is great. But this is what it's like to be behind the wheel for this Hyundai. From the exterior, it has a unique design to it. From the interior, it looks more like a normal Hyundai, I will say. Steering wheel has a little bit different design to it, but it's nice. I like the technology features that are available, and it's definitely comfortable. Very nice, especially with these seats, all of the materials. We have some really cool trim accents as well. I wouldn't say there's anything cheap about this car. For its price tag, everything seems to be very, very nice. So I'm impressed with this Hyundai. Hyundai and Kia have really stepped up their cars in the last several years. So if you're looking for something that is going to be pretty reliable, has a really great warranty as well, definitely look into a Hyundai and a Kia for this full EV. A lot of EVs are getting quite expensive. Now, I won't say that $55,000 is cheap. It's definitely, I'd say, kind of in the middle though. Like I mentioned earlier, if you want to go with a lower trim level, you can be probably around $40,000 or so, just depending on what you get. But for even the fully loaded top trim level here, around 55, doesn't seem all that bad, especially when you compare it to some of the other competitors and what's available. You get a lot of features from this that are standard, which is great to see. And I think that's going to wrap it up for the 2024 Hyundai Ioniq 6. If you enjoyed today's video, give it a huge thumbs up. Consider smashing that subscribe button so you don't miss out on our daily uploads. I will see you all in the next video.